Welcome to day 26 of your acceleration program. Today we're going to talk about the shift. Now, what we're talking about inside of the shift is going to change. Remember, we started with the trigger, we moved to the dark. After the dark, we talk about the drift. After the drift, we talk about the shift. Now, it's all good when you get to that point where you're like, okay, I changed my version of the story, right? I shifted my mind, I shifted my point of view. But if you stop there, what happens? If you stop there, the exact same thing is going to happen again. You're going to find yourself exactly where it was that you started. So the whole purpose of the lift is to avoid something called mental masturbation, right? What is mental masturbation? You get to the point where it just feels good. You're just like, oh, this feels so good. Feels so good that I got over this kid who doesn't know how to drive and shouldn't be driving and just said he didn't see me. Feels good, doesn't it? But that's all that is mental masturbation, because the next time that somebody cuts you off, you're going to end up right back where you started. So the purpose is not just about feeling good, it's about doing something about it, right? The lesson then becomes the leverage to pull us out of the dark, right? So we're looking to lift our way out of this. It's not just about then the knowledge bank. It's not just about adding something to that knowledge bank. It's about the lesson we learned so that it doesn't happen again, right? Now, there's a very specific process that happens inside here. We don't understand this because most of the time it's happening subconsciously. Think about it. The last time you put your hand on a stove that was hot, there was a very important lesson there, right? You burnt your hand, you said ouch, may have gotten blisters or something worse, but you learned and made that association. There was a lesson there that you applied and said, I'm not going to put my hand on that hot stove anymore. It's a very powerful lesson, right? Now, until you learn to apply things, you never actually learn the lesson. So there was no lesson if you just stop at the fact that like, oh, well, he just didn't see me. There was no lesson there. So everything that we do has to do with a lesson, right? Our growth then is predicated around our ability to learn a lesson inside of the darkness. Now remember, history is a very important thing, because history, if you don't learn something from it, if there's no lesson, if you don't apply it, it's bound to what? That's right, repeat itself. And that's what we want to keep from happening inside of our lives. So, how is it that we amplify our lessons? We leverage it inside of our core four. We learn the lesson and we apply it to body, to being, to balance, and then ultimately to business, right? Across all areas of core four, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. How you react to someone cutting you off when you're with your family is going to affect the way that you're running your business. And I'll show you how here in a minute. So how is it that we control the lift? Well, through another series of questions. Now, I'm going to continue with my example about the kid cutting me off on our way to the mall. What is the lesson that you learned from this experience? Well, the lesson that I learned is that I sometimes get overly excited about something that I perceive is not actually happening, right? Overly excited about something I perceive that isn't actually happening. Oh, they meant to do that harm to me. They meant to do that bad thing to me. They meant to leave me high and dry. They meant to stiff me. They meant to leave me out in the dark, right? The next question. What is the lesson that you learned from this experience? More often than not, I jump to conclusions. That's what I do. More often than not, I jump to conclusions. Whether it's with my wife, with my kids, with my employees, with my clients, I, more often than not, jump to conclusions, right? Next question. How does this apply to your body? Well, more often than not, I like to be in control and I like to jump to conclusions. So I started a new gym 6 weeks ago, and they have cycles inside of the gym. So 1 month, it's heavy cardio-related, endurance-related activities. The next month, it's a hybrid between strength and endurance. The next month, it's all strength. And initially, I was like, man, I like to be in control. I perceive that they're trying to do more harm to me than good. When the truth is, they weren't. They actually had the best intentions for me, which is why I need to let go and let them have control. Understand that they have my best interests in mind. Now, how does this apply to your being? I like to be in control, right? So I don't want God to be in control. I don't want God to take the wheel. I want to take the wheel, right? When the truth is that God has my best interests in mind. and I have to let go in order to get to where I want to go with him. Third area, balance, right? I more often than not like to ask my wife to do something and then just do what I want to do anyway. But the truth is that she always has my best interest in mind. Now, if I just let go, then she'll take me exactly where it is that we need to go. And the last area is business, right? I've hired mentors, I hired coaches, and more often than not, I like to fight with them. I like to argue with them. I'm paying these people money to help me. But until I learn to let go of control and understand that they have my best interest in mind, then I'll never achieve the outcomes that I'm after. So what you can see is inside of each of these 4 areas, I took a very simple lesson about me being in control and applied it across the core 4 areas. So it's going to be the same thing for you today inside of your assignment. Continue to work through the shift. Get through this lift area. Answer these questions. Same trigger, same shift. Now you're talking about the lift, right? So talk through this, and then ultimately share a 2-minute video where you talk about how you're experiencing this shift, right? And the lift, the lesson that's happening to you, that you're learning from this very particular trigger. All right, you know what time it is. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go.